Welcome back and thanks for joining us today on Celebrate Sausage. We're going to be making Spanish chorizo. Stay tuned. Spanish chorizo is one of those sausages that falls into the advanced category. It's a fermented, fully dried, fully cured sausage. And if you've ever had Spanish chorizo, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's delicious. It's heavily spiced. A lot of different unique paprikas is what not only gives it its color, but it gives it its amazing flavor. This sausage can be spicy or sweet, depending on the paprikas that you use. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how we make this fermented, fully dried, fully cured Spanish chorizo.
To make Spanish chorizo, we're going to be using pork and back fat. I'm using 70% lean pork and a 30% back fat ratio. If you happen to have pork shoulder, that cut works beautifully as well because it already has a great lean to fat ratio. I'm going to make sure that my meat is properly chilled before we grind it, and when we grind it, we're going to be grinding it through a 10mm coarse plate. I'm grinding my meat and fat together. Let's take a quick look at the Spanish smoked paprikas that we're going to be using. One is a sweet paprika, and that's what dulce means, while the other one, picante, that means spicy. So we're going to be using a combination of both of those. Once we're finished grinding, we're going to go ahead and add all our spices. This is our paprika, our salts, our cure number 2, and that's going to really help with the flavor, but it's also going to help with the binding properties because the salt is going to start to pull some of the myosin out of the meat, which is going to act like a glue when we go to mix it. So this is going to go into the fridge at least 6 hours. Overnight is better. It's now the following day, and 30 minutes before we are going to mix our meat, we need to prepare our starter culture. This starter culture is called Flavor of Italy. It's sold exclusively by the sausage maker, and it delivers incredible flavor. To prepare this starter culture, we're going to mix a little bit into some distilled water and then let it rehydrate for 30 minutes, and then it's ready to use. This is going to add beneficial bacteria to our meat. So now that our meat has been seasoned, it's re-chilled, we're going to go ahead and mix it and add our starter culture. We're going to mix this for a couple of minutes on about a medium speed until our meat mince is nice and sticky, and then we're going to stuff it. Now that our chorizo has been put into casings, it's time to weigh it. We're going to target about a 38 to 40% weight loss, and that's what I've done here. I've put my actual weight and then my target weight. And once I hit my target weight, then it's done. That's the amount of moisture that it's lost. At this point, our chorizo is going to ferment, and this little bit of mincemeat was in my stuffing horn. We're going to use that to test our pH. So I'm just going to set that in the same area that I'm going to be fermenting. The bacteria that are in the starter culture that we're using to ferment like to be in an area between 75 Fahrenheit and 85 Fahrenheit with a relatively high humidity. So you can place this anywhere you want as long as those conditions are met. In my case, it's just going to hang in my kitchen. After 24 hours, it's time to test the pH, and we're using a pH meter from Apera Instruments because it's not only incredibly easy to use, but it delivers accurate results, which is what we're looking for when making salami. When you're making salami, the safe zone is anything under 5.2, but with this starter culture, we want to shoot for 4.9. But anything in that range is perfect. And as you can see, I'm in the 4.9 range. And now we can begin the drying process. So the hard work is now behind us. And to dry this, we want to place our chorizo into a modified fridge or a basement where we can maintain a 55-degree Fahrenheit temperature with an 80% humidity until we reach 37 to 40% weight loss. I'm going to be placing this chorizo into a modified fridge, and if you'd like to know how to build one of these very easily, then be sure to check out that link in the top right-hand corner. Here in a minute, though, I'll show you the different things that I use in order to maintain the right temperature and the right humidity. To maintain the right humidity, we start with a dehumidifier because there's plenty of humidity in the air. And not all dehumidifiers work the same, but the EverDry 1100 is a superstar and one we recommend if you plan on making salami. As far as humidity goes, we increase the humidity when that's necessary by using an ultrasonic cool mist humidifier. Both of those units and the refrigerator are controlled by these two simple controllers from Inkbird. This green unit controls the refrigerator. It controls the heating and the cooling. In my case, I don't need to control the heating, so I just have my fridge plugged up to it and we set it to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. This blue unit controls the humidity, and we have the dehumidifier and the humidifier plugged up to it, and we have that set to 80%. And now we wait. Generally, you're not going to find chorizo with an exterior mold covering. So what I normally like to do is a couple of weeks into the drying process, I'll take a paper towel that's been soaked in white vinegar, and I'll just go ahead and clean any of that mold formation off of that chorizo. This is going to do a couple things. This is going to remove any existing mold, but it's also going to inhibit future mold, and this is completely optional. If you do have beneficial mold growing all over your chorizo and you want to leave it, that is completely fine as well. Because of the diameter of this salami, it only takes about 5 to 6 weeks. So we're going to wait a couple more weeks till we hit our 40% weight loss target. That's going to give us a nice firm chorizo, and once we hit our target, it's time to go ahead and slice it open. It feels great, it smells amazing, and I can't wait to taste it. This is my favorite part of the entire process, and if salami has taught me anything, it's taught me patience. Being able to use seasonings, time, and bacteria to turn meat into edible masterpieces, what's cooler than that? Let's give it a taste. Incredible. Sweet, a little spicy, flavorful. There's a slight fermented flavor coming from it. It's amazing.
Okay, I gotta admit, there are a lot of steps and there is some special equipment that you're gonna need in order to make this fully dried, fully cured, fermented sausage. But if you ever get to a place in which you wanna know what's next, this is definitely a rabbit hole you should entertain. It's challenging, it's fun. It does require patience, a little bit of special equipment, but the end result is absolutely delicious. This Spanish chorizo is one of our family's favorites. It's incredible. You can find the recipe for it in the description box below. And if you have any questions about fermentation, drying, curing, or the process in general, be sure to leave them in the comment section. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, tomorrow, same time, same place, we got a brand new sausage and a brand new recipe. We'll see you then.